A 4 cross 5 grid has 4 rows and 5 columns, where each cell is represented by Aij, where I refers to row and J refers to column. Each cell has a digit from 1 to 9 only. For any value of I, the value of Aij increases with increasing values of J. Also, for any value of J, the value of Aij decreases with increasing values of I. For example, A12 would mean the first row and second column. So this is A12 is smaller than A13. So that is first row and third column. So this is smaller. And which is smaller than A14. So this is smaller than A14 and so on. Okay. Whereas A12 is larger than A22. A22 is going to be second row, second column. So this is larger, which is larger than A32, which is larger than A42. So in other words, we can see that as we move from left to right, the values are increasing. And as we move from top to bottom, the values are decreasing, right? So if we rather start from this particular cell, which is the fourth row and first column, the values will keep on increasing towards the right as well as upwards. It will keep on increasing towards the right as well as upwards. It will keep on increasing towards the right as well as upwards. So this is the pattern in which the digits from 1 to 9 have to be placed. Further, it is also given that in the third row, there are 5 consecutive numbers. So the third row being this row. So we have 5 consecutive numbers, as in we can't take 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, something like that. It has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. The digit in A15, that is first row and fifth column, is 3 more than that in A35, that is third row and fifth column. So if I consider this to be x, this is going to be x plus 3. So having understood how we are going to fill the matrix or this particular grid, let's look at the questions and understand, are we going to have cases or are we going to have specific scenario, so that we will think our thought process will move accordingly. So the questions are, in how many ways can the grid be completed? So definitely it's not going to be 1, right? If the digits in second row and fifth column is 8, then how many ways can the grid be completed? Since it starts with F, it means definitely we are going to have caselets. What is the maximum possible value? Absolute value, that means again cases. Which of the two cells can never have the same digits? Again cases. What is the value of digit in cell A33? So this one is a definite one. So at least we will be able to answer one of the 5 questions. Okay. So if we look at the values, we know that if this is x, this is x plus 3. And also we do know that we will have to fill in the cells in the order such that when you move from left to right and from top to bottom, the values are increasing. Okay, so let's start with the smallest case. So the smallest number is going to be the fifth row and first column, and then we will have increasing values. So let's put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this value in the third row and first column should be more than 1. More than 1, let's put it 2 here, then 3, then 4, then 5. So that gives us x as 6. And if x is going to be 6, x plus 3 is going to be 9. We also know that in the third row, all the digits are consecutive numbers, right? Now, if we try to take another scenario, suppose if it is not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but let's say rather it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then this won't be 9, this will become 10, which is not allowed since we only have digits from 1 to 9. So obviously you can't have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can only have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We also cannot have consecutive numbers as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, because then what will be this? This has to be less than 1, right? And we can't take 0. So this forces us that the last 2 rows, they are going to be specific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the bottom row, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as the third row, and the first row last column, it has to be 9. Now, what are the scenarios in which we can fill the remaining 9 cells over here? Now, this value should be more than 2, so we can have 3 or 4 here, right? We can also have 5, who knows? So let's start from the right hand side. Since this is 6, we can only have 7 or 8 here. Since 7 or 8 is going to be used, so we can say 6 or 7 can be used, depending upon whether we have 7 or 8 in the last column of the second row. We can't have an 8 above 5 because that 8 will force us to put a 9, and the above cell should be more than 9, which we don't have. So we can only have 6 and 7 here. Using the same logic, we are going to have 5 or 6 here. We are going to have 4 or 5 here. More than 2, we are going to have 3 or 4 here. Now, depending upon whether we have 3 or 4, we can have 4 or 5 here. And depending upon 4 or 5, we can have 5 or 6 here. We can have 6 or 7 here. We can have 7 or 8 here. Now we need to count the number of cases. So let's put the 9, which is fixed. Let's put, let's start with 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, since we have 7 and we have 9, these are fixed. Now, what we can do is we can have 7 or 8 here. We can have 6 or 7 here. We can have 5 or 6 here. We can have 4 or 5 here. How many cases will this result in? Let's check. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9. We can have 4, 5, 6, 7. We can have 4, 5, 6, 8. So this is still a 9. If this is still a 9, we can have 4, 5, 7, and 8. Okay. If this is still a 9, we can have 4, 6, 7, and 8. If this is still a 9, we can put a 5 here now, and 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we are going to have 5 cases from here, 5 possibilities. Okay. Fine. Let's look at the next scenario. What if instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, what if we take this as 3, 4, 5, 6, instead of 7, let's take in 8 now. And this is 9. So since we have a 6 here, we can have 7 or 8 here. Since we have 5 here, we can have 6 or 7 here. Since we have 4 here, we can have 5 or 6. Since we have 3 here, we can have 4 or 5. Let's count the number of cases we're going to have here. So let's erase these. Okay, since we have 3, let's start with 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is one possibility. Then we can have 4, 5, 6, or 8. The next possibility. 7 and 8 are done. Let's change the digit above 5, the cell above 5, to be 7. So this forces this to be 8 because on the right hand side it should be increasing. And since this is 7, we can have 6 and 4 here, or we can have 4 and 5 here. 2 possibilities. And now if I make the cell above it as 5, no, we can have a 6 here and we can have a 5 here, since 5 and 4 are already done, right? We can't move further above this. So this tells us that this is also going to have 5 cases. So 10 cases as of now overall. The next one being, if we take this as 4, okay, let's keep this as 9. So we have taken 8 and 6. We have taken 7 and 6. Let's take 8 and 7 here. 8, 7, 8, 6, 7, 6. Fine. Now, since we are going to have 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 here, above 3 we can have 4 or 5. Above 4 we can have 5 or 6. Above 5 we can have 6 or 7. and above 7 we definitely are going to have 8 and 8 only. Let's erase the previous and let's count them one by one. So we can have 4, 5, 6 and 7 instead. Oh, sorry, we need to change the base row as well. So this is going to be 3, 4, 5, 7 and 8. Yeah. Now above 7, this is definitely 8. We can have a 7 here, 6 here and a 5 here, or we may have a 4 here. Then this is 8. If we put a 6 here, this is going to be 5 and this is going to be a 4 here. Or we are done with 8, 7. We have 8, 6. We can have 8, 7, 5 and 4. Right? Above 3 it should be larger, above 4 larger, above 5 larger, above 7 larger. We do not have any other possibility, isn't it? Yeah, we are going to have only these 4 cases. So far, 14 of them. Next is these are fixed. Sorry, not these are fixed. This 9 is fixed. Now below 9, let's keep this as 8, this as 7. Let's remove 5 now and let's take 3, 4, 6. Sorry, let's take 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So above 3 we can have 4 or 5, above 4 we can have 5 or 6, above 6 it has to be only 7, and above 7 only 8, right? So let's find out how many cases we are going to have from this scenario. So this is 3, 4, 6, 7 and 8. This is definitely 8 and 7. Okay, so we can have 4 and 5. We can have 4 and 6. We can have 5 and 6. The other two cells being 7 and 8. So there are going to be only 3 cases from here. So this is a total of 17 so far. Okay, now let's keep everything same and remove 4 and replace it with 5. So we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 here now. So above 3 we can have 4 or 5, above 7 it has to be 8, above 6 it has to be 7, above 5 it has to be 6. So let's count. It's going to be now easy because we do not have a lot of possibilities for every cell. We have some restricted combinations now. So these are fixed as 6, 7, 8. So obviously we are going to have only 2 cases, one being you can have 4 here or you can have 5 here. So we will have 2 cases from here. The next scenario being, let's remove 3 and let's bring in 4 instead of it, such that we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So above 7 it has to be 8, above 6 it has to be 7, above 5 it has to be 6, above 4 it has to be 5. So this gives us only one possibility. So we have a total of 20 cases, 20 possibilities. So we have to be very careful while solving this. We have to make sure that we are able to find out all the cases. It's going to be tricky and time consuming. Also, there is a definite pattern where as to how we should check. We should start from the left hand side by removing one digit at every scenario. So in the first one we did not take 8, in the next one we did not take 7, in the next one we did not take 6, in the next one we did not take 5, in the next one we did not take 4, and in the last one we did not take 3. Because 9 is already there, so we can't take 9 anyways. So having understood this, let's move over to the questions now. Question number 6. In how many ways can the grid be completed? We have already calculated 20. So 20, it's a theta question, so we have to type in 20. Question number 7. If the digit in the second row and fifth column is A25. So Second row and fifth column, we are talking about this case, is 8. So this is going to be 8 in these 5 scenarios. Then in how many ways can the grid be completed? So it can be completed in all the cases except for the first 5. So this is going to be 15. It's a theta question, so we have to type in 15. Question number 8. What is the maximum possible absolute value of A35? That is third row and fifth column, which is going to be 6. And A12, which is the first row and second column, which is going to be 5, 6. So we have already seen that the maximum possible absolute value is going to be, because A35 is definitely 6 and A12 can be 5 or 6, since we need to maximize it. So we are supposed to put a 5 here such that it's going to be 1. Since it's a theta question, we are supposed to type in 1 here. Question number 9. Which of the two cells can never have the same digits? So let's check. A11 and A44. A11 is 1 for sure. Sorry, A11 is 4 or 5. And A44 is going to be 4. So they can be same. A12 and A33. A12 is going to be 5 or 6 and A33 is going to be 4. So B is the answer. Let's verify the next two options as well. A21 is going to be second row first column, which is 3, 4, and A32 is going to be third row and second column, which is going to be 3. So it's very much possible that they can both be 3. A12 is going to be 5 or 6, and a fourth row and fifth column is going to be 5. So we can have them as same. So answer is going to be option B. Question number 10. What is the value of the digit in cell A33? So third row and third column, this is going to be 4. It's a theta question, so we have to type in 4.